Boys and girls,
Hi.
it's episode 58. Marshall read it and informed us 3 seconds ago.
What would we do without him? I just really don't know.
Welcome, Marshall. I was gonna make a joke like Marshall, but then I was like, that makes me really old sounding, even though I'm not that old.
I've heard that before, and an issue with that at a previous work group. It wasn't Marshall. It's Marsha.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you doing today? You good?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. So, I think Jana had a statement.
I do have a statement. I would like to apologize to Travis Wyman for my recent behavior and complaining on the podcast about his choice to not do business with me. I have since come to understand and respect that decision, and I apologize for previous behavior. And if you ever want to chat about it, I'm open to that. And just so you know, like, I don't have any ill wishes to you or ill wishes to your business, and I wish you all the success. And like I said, if you want to talk about it, you know where I'm at. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Chatting is fun.
Chatting is fun.
I approve of chatting at all times. All right, let's check and see who's in the house real quick. We won't go too long because we got Marshall here.
With lots of good stuff to tell us.
Lou Balls, Powerhouse.
Hi, Lou.
The most famous podcast horror on the internet is here. Will's Hella Heat.
And my biggest supporter in the contest.
Morph Wizards is here. Richard's here. Creative Coralofus. Uh-oh.
Billy. Woo!
Big dog. Woo! Good morning. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good Canadian afternoon. Kaiju's here. Yeah, I don't think I've seen Kaiju live either. And Large Marge Morphs. That's a hilarious name.
Large Marge. That's a good one.
All right, real quick, Jana, let's check the old... I didn't share a screen yet.
Ye old sponsor. Is that where we're
Who's
going?
our ye old sponsor?
I don't know. Shane Kelley. Small Town Xotics.
So, okay, you have to go to Rumble first, everybody, to watch his new show setup video.
That pops my Rumble cherry because I didn't even know that existed.
Me either.
Yeah, Rumble. My husband was like, "Is that a gay dating site?" And I'm like, "It sounds like it should be."
Yeah, I don't know. I clicked on it. He sent it to us, and I clicked on it. And I'm like, "Wait, where did I end up?"
It'll be on YouTube tomorrow if you're not ready to rumble with the rumblers. But he has a great setup, so people should check it out. He got a cozy mat for in front of your table.
I know. I was like, I'm stealing that.
Right. Marshall, do you have a mat in front of your table?
I've had one behind before, but I have seen some people put them out front.
Yeah, like the fatigue mat. People just stay there because they're dying. And they're like, oh, I guess I'll buy a snake because I'm already here and stuck.
Well, and then you have a chance to make a connection. So then they do start to look at your snakes. It's right. Smart stuff.
If you need a mat to make a connection, you're probably not doing the right thing.
Oh, wow. Harsh.
Oh, burn.
Harsh, Marshall.
No, the mat.
We were coming out. Well, I mean, I guess it's afternoon for you guys. I'm still a little caffeine short over here.
No, I mean, my feet hurt. So I want a fatigue mat on my side, so I can imagine.
I need one too, but I'd probably trip on it like a graceful princess and slam into my display, and then everyone would laugh. It would be great.
All right, so check out that video if you don't want to rumble tomorrow. YouTube, Small Town Xotics, Shane Kelley, Morph Market, Instagram.
Yeah, he's got a great setup. Did a
Grinder, really maybe also Rumble.
Is that the site we were thinking it was when we heard Rumble? Is Grinder?
Yes, that's right. That's what my husband was like. Is that a gay dating site? I'm like, no.
Because I literally thought I'm like, where is he sending me? Because this feels dirty.
It's fine though, and what's funny about it is it'll show you how much he's earned from ad revenue to you. You can see his, which isn't, it's 1 cent, but it's fine. But I was like, oh, different. Check it out, everybody.
Have you heard of Rumble, Marshall?
I have not.
Okay, thank you. I feel better now.
No.
Oh, real quick, USARK, Suffolk County, New York. They're trying to do the like traveling circus act ban. Like they get that boilerplate memo from PETA and they're like, yeah, that sounds good. You know, dancing bears suck. So they're doing it in New York. So if you're in New York, please go to USARK and follow the instructions for contacting
Because they
your
already
people.
pretty strict rules. They don't need more rules.
Right. It's the same. This would eliminate all like birthday party reptile shows.
Oh,
You know
that's
what I
just
mean?
mean.
That's what they would be accidentally eliminated. All right. Now, Jana. Drum roll, please, everybody. What are we?
Go ahead, Marshall.
Oh!
Go ahead, Marshall.
Vote.
Vote for whoever you want and then vote for me. But seriously, the reason that there's daily voting is because I know in years past people have been upset that they can't vote for more than one person that they are rooting for. And so there is daily voting. So you can vote for different people on different days. As long as you vote for me twice as many days as you vote for whoever else you're voting for, then we're cool.
The other one that gets me is the dude holding the hyacinth macaw. I love that bird.
That's Adam. He's our
That's
buddy.
Adam. He's so sweet and funny, and he's a freaking helicopter pilot. I don't know why he's not doing like Tom Cruise and the sunglasses and the like slow walk to the helicopter. Like missed opportunities, Adam. I'm telling you. He usually is watching, but I don't know
not
if he
to
is
burst
today.
your bubble, but the federal government doesn't like taking pictures of their infrastructure and putting them on the internet.
That's probably
terrorists.
true.
They're like,
yeah.
Dang
it.
As like a.
Well, he flew a private
private one's
aircraft
fine.
to Vegas. I think this weekend, and like missed opportunity. You could have totally done it then.
That would have been fine. But like OPSEC, you're not supposed to reveal secrets unless they were like cleared through a specific office. Like you can't like even go on base and take a picture of the base.
Yeah,
they'll be
I know.
Like, oh,
I know.
the guard
It's all classified.
Yeah, we got to fight them. Somebody.
My ex is in nuclear refueling, and so whenever they defuel or refuel a submarine, it's classified when it happens. Yet that's the only time of the year, or it's like every couple of years, that he works like 14-hour days. And so it's like pretty apparent that that's what they're doing, even though he can't tell me that's what they're doing. It's really dumb. I'm like, okay, you go and do your not classified activity for the next 10 days.
Listen, nobody wants a dirty bomb in Seattle, so
that's
keep
true.
it a secret.
I don't tell anybody, but it's just like it makes me laugh because it's really, really obvious.
Do you know anybody who serves in the military, Marshall, or have you served?
I have not served. My dad was in the civil service. Interesting. He worked. He was first in the computers before computers were computers. And I can remember we lived in Fairborn, it was Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And he was in charge of the computer system or what tracked the parts inventory for aircraft and the Air Force or something like that. And I can remember going on base and getting big reams of paper from the you can walk in, big reams of paper. I mean, I'm 50 some years old. So this has been, a while. This has been in the 80s or 70s. And then they started shutting things down and you couldn't bring stuff home and stuff. But that, he did the civil service thing for.
Was it the reams of paper with the holes on the side?
Yeah. And it had
that makes me so happy. Yeah.
And punch cards. They used to feed punch cards through, and I can remember going there and seeing the big magnetic tape reels, and then some book for people and computers or something. Because I mean, he just I don't know. I remember he told me how he got into it. He just did.
You totally. Yeah, so. You're gonna flag our whole damn podcast. Now they're gonna take down our YouTube channel.
Oh God, yeah, probably.
This is in the 70s, long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, the military sucks. Since I'm already going down anyway off of the dirty bomb comment, but It doesn't.
Your
say.
husband's gonna get pulled in for an interview about,
Oh,
about
your
his life.
your top secret security clearance. Bye.
Bye.
Whoops. All right. Now, Marshall, we need to go back in time. Let's go back in the Wayback Machine. We're going way back. Okay. When you were, we sort. I don't want to like redo the Sean interview because he knows it because he was your buddy at the time, but we don't know it. So I was like, I have some questions for that
Let's
Marshall
fill in
guy.
some holes that
Yeah.
you guys didn't need because you already know each other.
So explain like the timeline between like the Honda dealership and then the Snakes going full time and like what the relationship was of the Honda going
Or the economy going in the crapper.
right
Oh,
in 2008 versus going full time.
Yeah. So I mean, I quickly, I've been into fish forever is kind of thing. And I worked at a pet store and kind of got into the snakes there. And my first snakes were bought at the Mid-Ohio Reptile Show. I think it's one of the oldest in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And brought them home, kept them in Tupperware bowls. It's terrible. I mean, really bad. And so that was my first thing into reptiles, stuff like that. And so I moved to Colorado in '97, and I was a Honda dealer, bought a Honda dealership, motorcycle, not car, and was still big into fish. I mean, I had like 1,800 gallons of African cichlids was I mainly doing. And then I bought some Gila monsters from Dr. Ford's here in town or he's down south of me. So that kind of got me back into reptiles. And then I was like, well, this is pretty cool. You know, I like this. And so I wanted basin emerald tree boa. Is it emeralds? I think basin. So I got into that, went out to Daytona 2004 hurricane that just happened to meet. I cannot remember his name now. He's based out of Jacksonville. He's big into basins. And went there for that. And then I went to Tinley and I went to King of Prussia for NRBC show. And while I'm killing time looking for basins, I get into ball pythons. And then
just
that started it there.
Fall into it.
That's like 2004. And by 2005 or 6, the collection was growing. So for the motorcycle industry, it was climbing the hill hard up until about 2007, 2008. And then with the economy rolling off, it got tough. I mean, I was a top 100 Honda dealer. And I went from selling, 1,000 plus new Hondas, which would rank me in the 80 number roughly with Honda dealers in the nation, to 350 by the time I sold it in 2011. So it just, the whole thing turned down and doing their buy sell, they don't want you competing with anybody else. So I had a non-compete. I couldn't work within 90 miles in the industry around where I live. And so that just kind of left it, and I was burned out and snakes were doing good. I was like, man, let's just ramp it up and go. And I ended up renting a commercial unit and.
Oh, wow.
So it's
like a storefront or like warehouse.
It was more of a warehouse.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to do. I've tried. I tried Nicks. I tried rainbows. I've tried a lot of stuff, and I've learned that I'm about ball pythons.
So do you do basins still?
No. I ended up trading those for rodents.
Okay.
So did the snake business replace the Honda business income completely, or did you have to like go up and did it go over it, or what was the?
Did you reach
numbers.
like equilibrium of
No.
you were making the same as the Honda
No.
with the balls? No. Okay.
No. I'm not. I mean, when I sold the shop, based upon the economy that was going on, it was equal to, and the snakes might have done a little bit better, but not what it was when
it was doing well.
The Honda was doing great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you reached the point where you were like, oh, I'm wasting my time with Honda.
No.
I'm making so much money with snakes. It was just more of a situational economy, self-preservation choice.
Yeah, I like doing it. I like going to shows, and I think shows are a lot more important then than now. I mean, I don't think you have the same amount of social media presence that really helps people now versus back then. I think it was face to face, and and you're spending thousands of dollars on a het genetic stripe or a het this or het that or clown or whatever. People like to know who you are, and I think that always did me well in a well represented display and a show presence, and that really made a difference for me versus Facebook or whatever was going on back then. Maybe it was, I don't know if you're telling but MySpace or something.
See, and I feel like our shows are behind like a decade or so than the rest of the countries because our market is so untapped. And so I feel like they're just as important as how you were saying they were at the time. Like our shows are really important for networking in this area, more so than social media.
I still think shows have a place, and I don't think people I don't know. Justin doesn't display, based upon what he has versus what he does in the show is the complete opposite of pretty much everybody else. It seems like, but Josh and Bob and Steve, those guys, they have a large display at shows, and I think that goes a long way to showing when you see 10 displays of all nice animals that are displayed well, they're healthy, they look great. That goes a long way to just seeing a picture on the internet, So I think it helps.
Yeah. Just wanted to take a minute to say hi to Shane, our sponsor. He's probably just stopping in before he heads to bed. But thank you for your support. We love you. And hopefully you're on your way to bed.
So how quickly did you move into the extra facility? Did you try to bootstrap it out of your house for a long time? Or were you my wife's going to drown me in a tepid bathwater?
Yeah, no,
it keeps going. It was pretty quick.
I think the closing date on the dealership was April or May of 2011, and by 2012, I was already looking for a spot to move into. The only thing I didn't do that I should have done was take my forklift with me. It's hard moving a bunch of rodent food. And,
yes, it is.
So you were,
man, that's something I missed.
You were trying to produce all of your own rodents too at the exact same time.
Yeah, there's a lady that supplied them in Denver and stuff. I'd been buying from for years and stuff, and you can't even back. I feel even back then, and it's even more so today. If you're not producing your own rodents, you're making a mistake. I think
right. You're putting your business at risk if you're not producing your own rodents because it's so unreliable.
It's unreliable, and it's got to be your biggest cost of your snake production, I think. Other than the initial investment, but your weekly rodent bill is even back then, and I think I was buying small adults for $1.50 or something like that. My rodent bill was $500 a week.
That's $1.50. Wow.
I was gonna dig a bill up. I still got all my records and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Now it's getting crazy, especially with the doggy bag going off the market.
I know that was my source. Now I have
to everybody's prices have gone up at least $1 just immediately because that's not available anymore.
Yeah. Did you try ASFs at that time? Because we've talked about this a little bit, but did you try it at that time or have you tried it since?
The rodent, the ASF?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've had them for as long as I can remember.
Okay, so you ran all three.
Yeah.
Or no mice?
No, I only keep the ASF for that odd snake that gives me a hard time or something like that. And one of my earliest things I remember is I had bought a snake in 2004, or 5 or 6 or something like that, and this snake would not eat for me. Would not eat. And I'm like, I'm not feeding it a mouse. It's a female. I need this female to grow. I'm not feeding it a mouse. And finally, I was like, Marshall, you're an idiot. If it's not eating anything, it's not doing anything. So
right.
Start getting the mouse, and so I've long ago said, if you're not going to eat this, you're going to get this. If whatever you want to eat is what you're going to get. And so I just keep the ASFs as extras. And I've honestly found that as I get a bunch of them, I'll feed them off to my males and stuff. And I don't ever see a male get stuck on anything. They'll go back and forth and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I feed ASFs, I feed mice, I feed rats, I feed chicks. I try to get my breeder stock to eat a variety, and most of them will. Some, like you said, there's some that are just, they're sure of what they want and that's what they're going to eat. And what I try to tell my customers, especially in like the pet industry, is fed is best. So no matter what you're reading on the internet that are like, oh, they can't live on mice their whole life, or they have to be on rats, I'm like, fed is best.
Jana's dropping the breastfeeding lingo.
Yeah, I mean, it's breastfeeding.
It's
breastfeeding lingo. I mean, my boobs are out. It's fair, but I mean, like, that's where you get it from. Is like fed is best. And so if they want a mouse, give them a mouse. Like, who freaking cares? It's, you'll worry about it in the long run, but in the short run, at least that snake is eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, largely like pickiness to me, it doesn't happen when they're young. People are always like, don't start them on mice, they'll be stuck. And I'm like, fuck you. They get picky later. Like they wake up as a 3-year-old and be like, I guess I only want brown ones on Thursdays when the moon is at a quarter. And you're like, okay.
It's funny. They do like colors. Like some will eat a white one all the time. And I throw something else in there, they won't eat it, And
I do have one that won't eat black mice.
Yeah. It's weird.
Like, really? That's not politically correct these days.
All right. So this is now the year 2012 is when you signed your lease. So that's when you start. You're like, I'm full time now. In your mind, or do you think you were full time?
Technically, once I decided to sell the shop, I was full time.
From that moment,
that was the motive from then on. Yeah, I didn't want to move. Kids are in school and stuff like that. I already had that, and it's hard moving a collection. I'm sure I'd love to hear how tough that was to move everything from Washington to Oklahoma. I mean, I've heard podcasts like that, but that couldn't have been easy,
No.
I got PTSD over it.
She's still not ready to talk about it.
I feel like I'm still feeling the ramifications, which sounds stupid, but it's not, because like all my ball pythons are like pushed back like 2 or 3 months when they would be building follicles to start. At the very least, that's the very least of the changes among everything else. But yeah, moving them's crazy.
Okay, so when you bought a facility, what was your number, or you rented a facility. What was your like breeder stock number? Like how many breeders ish? Were you like 600 or were you like 2,000? I mean, like, where were you?
No, I think probably breeder stock was about 400 snakes, and I think I was in that 800 snake range with subadults and hatchings and stuff like that.
And how many clutches were you hatching?
About 120. So wasn't that big of a,
Oh, wasn't that big of a deal? I almost died and I only hatched 23 this year.
And so you're mostly moving them at the shows, or how much king snake?
So it's king snake
at that point.
Yeah, I probably had a fauna and a BLBC and stuff like that. But the shows, and even today, I probably sell more just from my history than on
within your network
and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, it just seems like every time I produce something, someone's always calling, "Hey, what do you have?" Or, "Hey,
I want that problem.
I want, what puzzle?
You're in the Rolodex of calls.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because puzzle stuff I'm pretty known for. Tri-stripe stuff I'm pretty known for.
Special.
Yeah, special stuff too. That's not as popular. It's made a comeback, obviously, with the clowns and stuff like that.
Yes, it has. It is a big deal. So at the time of your warehouse, what projects were you in then?
Well, I would have had puzzle and stuff back then too. So 2009 or 10, I think, is when I got my puzzle from Sean, and I got my tri-stripe in 2006. It had clown, had genetic stripe stuff. I hate that stuff now, honestly.
Oh, I know. So, okay, I know you hate it, but you got in it when it was like $30K for a pair.
Yeah, I paid 32 for a pair.
And so this is like, G-Stripe is my favorite project. And yes, thank you to G-Stripe Clown for breathing life back into the project. Yes. But like the fact that you got one of the original like breeding pairs is, I'm like fangirling right now. And I know you hate them, and most people do. But what were they doing with them? Like, I'd love to hear like a little synopsis of you watching the project just crash and burn way back then.
Yeah, so I got my pair from Jeremy Stone, and he had a high gold line, he called it, and one clearly was more yellow gold than the other one was. It was really nice, and I started producing them, and you sold the heads and you sold some visuals, stuff like that, and it just faded. Looking back, I think one of the biggest things, and I was just listening to that new Chris Eaton show with his eyeballs friends from that, and he had a really good point is, we weren't thinking double recessive like that. It was just, can I make more Mojaves? Can I make more genetics? Can I make more clowns? Can I make more of whatever it was? And you had a handful of morphs, and you're just, I remember a bumblebee being, I think I almost paid $8,500 for a bumblebee at one point, and I almost paid, I was looking at a sugar, $35,000.
Yeah. And so it's funny to me that those genes weren't added to the G stripe, because a bumblebee G stripe is really cool. And so like the fact that it just faded out, nobody did anything with it, it's so interesting to me that it wasn't really explored.
I made calico heads at one point, and
calico G stripe is the shit. I have one in my rack, and every time I open her bin, I'm just like, that's right, I love you. You're amazing.
I think I remember his name now. In California, bought my heads from me, and he ended up going on producing some things like that. So, I don't know. It just, and then I sold off I had a ton of visuals, sold them all off. I think I sold like 3 breeder females and a male for $1,500 maybe.
Ouch. That is definitely not 30,000. And we have some people in the comments, Mutation Creation, Team G Stripe, Small Town Exotics, Team G Stripe. Will, he's saying, unless it has enhancer, most of my G Stripe comes with enhancer as well.
So you sold G Stripe before 2015, is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Before Kevin came out with the
G Stripe clown.
Oh yeah, I want to say, yeah, yes.
What do you think of G Stripe clown? Do you think does it make a little tingle in you to maybe get a G Stripe?
No.
Dang it.
You're just like still like, yeah. We'll leave that for somebody else that's excited about it. I love G Stripe, so it's okay that you don't. You're doing great with puzzle, and I don't have time for puzzles. So you keep doing what you're doing, and I'll do what I'm doing, and everybody's gonna win.
How much stuff can you do? I mean, that's the question.
Right. Exactly.
And I probably dabble too much in too many things instead of focusing a little bit more, but
I'm going through that right now. I'm trying to decide, because I have 2 triple recessive projects that I'm involved in, and I'm trying to decide, like, do I really have time for 2 triple recessive projects, or do I just have time for one? Because one triple recessive, you still have like the individual projects with those single recessives that you're working the other. Does that make sense? So it's like a lot of rack space and a lot of time, and
a lot of rack space.
It's hard. It's hard to decide because I like both projects. So walk us through your decision to go from full-time back to part-time, and why you decided not to get out, and why you decided to go to part-time.
So I think ball pythons are the ultimate side hustle. I just think that there is nothing out there that is like this, that you can do on the side. It produces income. It's just, to me, the ultimate side hustle. I just think it's, as a main source of income, the market itself, and we're now seeing that come back. But back then, the market's fairly unstable. I mean, I came from an industry where a new Honda has a 20% margin at its greatest amount, from MSRP to what it costs you dead nuts is 20%. Some it was even getting less than that. And then you got a whole backside, and you got a freight to get it in, and all this kind of stuff. You got to set it up out of the crate, and then you got floor plan on it. I mean, 20% is not a lot, to be honest with you. It seemed like it. And I know car guys get a bad rap and stuff like that. We're selling fun versus something you got to have, but and I
what did Sean say that you bought a GTR?
Yeah.
How long did you have it for?
I had it for a year.
It was fun though, right?
Yeah, I put 12,000 miles on it. Yeah.
Oh my god! All right. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
So yeah, I took it down to Arlington one time.
My husband's gonna trick me into buying one of those for him one of these days, I'm sure. So I have to get my sweet ball python money to pay for it, though.
So I just think that because the market is, it's like I was thinking, you had a great show on getting your business going, and one of the things that caught my eye is get an accountant. I mean, people don't because it's so inexpensive to get into this industry. It takes a credit card. Maybe I can't swipe a credit card at the Honda franchise and go, oh, I'll take a dealership, please. So you can swipe your credit card and start a ball python business or a snake business, a puppy dog business or two. I mean, it's a really low entry level to get into. So just because you can do it doesn't mean you're going to be good at it or you should be doing it. So like one of the first things that we talked about, I heard Jana talk about was you spend all this money on snakes and you're not depreciating anything. People, you're going to invest this money and you're not going to spend $200-300 on an accountant to start out with to guide you on what you can do. That's a basic thing that you should be doing. And a lot of people don't do that. What are you writing off and what are you, what expenses are you categories in and how are you doing it and stuff, and just having that advice to guide you. Because the first couple of years are, if you're, back then, especially, it's building. You're buying babies and raising them up. Now you can go out and buy adults relatively easy and be breeding the first year type of thing.
Right.
So,
Richard asked a question real quick, if you want to interject. Do you know how much it costed you to produce a snake then versus now that it's like not in a facility and out of your house? Or have you ever estimated it?
Are you in your house now or do you still have a outside
No,
facility?
I had it for like 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's long been gone. And getting back to the stability of the market is that because you're doing it in your house, and there's a lot of reasons why there's not a lot of I think it makes stuff stable, and then it's an industry where you teach your competitor how to be just as good as you, and you don't do that in the motorcycle world or the car world. You don't call your buddy down the street that's selling.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how are you getting these guys financed in 2008? You can't do that.
What sources are you using, and what
Yeah.
here, and what's your profit on that? No, you don't. I mean, it's such a unique business, that it's to me that it was not being stable. Plus, there's no health care. There's no benefits. There's no retirement. There's no, I mean, when I was doing the dealership, my retirement was the building. And I sold that with the business, so, my goal was, I have a building paid for and there's money coming in every month from somebody renting it from me, so plus money I'm putting away and stuff like that. So I just don't think it's the greatest side hustle ever, but it's I think as a business, it's not for everybody. And I'm not saying people can't make it happen.
Right. There are a few people who have the right personality to go big and to make it their career and their full source of income. I totally agree with you as a side hustle thing. Like, that is why I'm in school to get my nursing degree, because that'll provide stability, that'll provide insurance, and that'll provide retirement. Yep. Am I going to stop doing the snakes just because I become a nurse? Hell no. Like, that is absolutely my side hustle. And I think that's a great perspective, is that you can be very successful if that's your expectation from it, is to be like a side hustle.
Same thing, I bought a banana. I couldn't afford a banana male when they came out, so I got a female. That was still like $25,000.
Brother.
That.
Did you lose money on that?
No,
transaction, or did you manage?
Kill it on that. That was so. I got lucky. Okay. I bought a female, and in 18 months, she laid 8 eggs. 5 were bananas. 3 were males. 2 were females. And obviously the males were female makers. So for the next number of years, I have my table was full of female bananas. Everyone else had male bananas that make more male bananas. So that was a great purchase for me. And and sometimes it's lucky, I mean, I bought a snake from Amir. I mean, he doesn't do much anymore, but it was supposed to be a pastel super stripe, and it turned out to be a spark, and so the guys making a spark, so I was making pumas like crazy. They were selling like hotcakes. So some of it's a little bit of luck, and you're in the right project. And that's sometimes why I struggle with downsizing is what's the next big thing? What's the next combo somebody makes that you're like, oh, well, I've got a rack full of ultramels, or I've got a rack full of pieds and clowns, and if I've only got one thing, then I can't take advantage of that. So.
Well, how many snakes do you have now?
So now I have about 115 breeder females.
That's still a substantial.
And how many clutches do you do a year?
This year was like 42. Last year was 92.
Whoa! I mean, that's kind of up there still with that same level.
Yeah, and I think this year, so I did have a struggle. I struggled with everybody, probably with rodents is always the big limiting factor. It seems like so. With so many hatchlings from last year, it was a really good year for me. Because the year before was like a 40 clutch year or something like that too.
But last year was the year to have the too many hatchlings problem. I mean, that worked out pretty good for you, I think, right?
No, it did. But that struggled because the problem is my rodent production wasn't keeping up with that number of snakes. And so instead of having, when we run out of hoppers, it's like, oh, well, here's a pinky rat. You get that, or you get that fuzzy rat. And all of a sudden now you don't have that medium or small. So I think some of my females, I wasn't comfortable with the weight they were gaining, it got back up in size. So I didn't even
dealing with that right now.
Stuff, it's like, they get the year off,
Which is fine, it's fine. Right. They're okay.
I'm starting my season a little bit late because I feel like the same thing happened to some of my girls. Most of mine are on frozen thawed, but some of my girls that are on live, I had so many clutches all at the very end of the season that my live production, like none of them were making it to adulthood except for like the replacement colonies.
Right.
And so then I would go to feed the adults and I'm like, well, crap, I don't have a live for you. And so I would offer them frozen thawed. And of course they look at you like, what the F is this? And so there's a couple of girls where I'm just like, you're probably going to get the year off. Like I'll still watch them with ultrasound and stuff. And now that I've gotten sold most of my babies, now they're getting fed again, but they definitely haven't been bred this season because like, I'm just not happy that they're at 1,500 grams or whatever, but I'm just not happy with the way they look.
Right. Yeah, I expand my rodent room. I bought some more racks and it's working harder on that too than other stuff. So
the funny thing is that I doubled my rodent production thinking that would be enough because I did 12 last year and I was planning about 25 this year and I did 23. Well, I did 25, but 2 of them went bad. So 23. And it still felt like I had less rats this year than I did last year, even though I had twice as many. It was really an odd year.
So let's go back in time again. We sort of skipped around a little bit, but you've always been fairly high end. Is that correct? Or did you wholesale a lot, or did you have like pets fodder for your tables? What was like the composition?
I think back then you always had a lot. I can remember going to shows, and it's actually funny. One of the tanks I keep dubia roaches in, and we got a bearded dragon. I want to say like 9-10 years ago, and I still have dubia roaches from that original purchase. They grow up and I sell them at the show, and they grow some more. What's left in the bottom, but the tank I keep in, it's funny, it's got a label on the top of it, and it's got to be from like 2012, 13, 14. Normals, $25. Pastels, $35. And it was just a tank full of that, probably had tri-stripe, had puzzle, had. But even then,
right.
It was going, that stuff, because it's still the males, they're still difficult to move, and
we call that show fodder.
Yeah. Yes. So I just, I the other thing that I've done that I think people can take this advice on is because, well, one, I was doing it full time, and one, you need to generate income for your family. Is I probably sold way more stuff than I should have sold. Female wise,
yes.
That visual females that I should have kept in puzzle, tri-stripe, clown, even genetics right back then, all that kind of stuff. I should have kept way more than but it's a big wad of cash, or make that breed to 3 years. And I'm like, I'll take the cash.
Right. Sometimes you need to feed your family instead of prioritize your projects.
Or pay for next semester's college classes.
And that gets to the whole reason why I think the market is somewhat unstable, is that because you have people doing this in their house with no overhead cost, really.
That really does change
It does. Oh, my
No.
car needs new tires, or there with the transmission, or we want to go on vacation, or let's just dump a snake, or we'll sell a snake cheap and move on, So
Mhm.
I just think that makes the market, it's been really good the last 2 years for sure. The demands obviously outpaced production and what people want, but now we're swinging back down again. With everything, in the job I do now, I've been going to dealerships now for 2 years, and the floor showrooms are empty. They're full. They're full.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
So do you have like advice for someone, or like for you, for Marshall, past Marshall? Would you go back in time and like slap him and be like, "No, Marshall, don't go full time," or
Don't
or
get a facility, dummy.
or do you think you like needed to try it to learn that wasn't the right path for you?
yeah, I would also say, knowing my personality, I'm not the greatest self motivator, So
Mhm.
I think going backwards, it's real easy to go. So going backwards, I'd still be a Honda dealer.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's where I would still be looking at that, and that's really come from knowledge I've gained from working at different shops. So when I became a dealer, I had honestly never been in the power sports or automotive side of the world. I sold high end audio equipment, and so I came in really with not enough experience. I should have worked at a dealership before I spent the money on one to buy it, and things, so things are, you learn like I can't call, like the snake thing is a great example. I can't call a competitor down in Denver that I worked for 6 years and say, "Hey, look, how did you do this? This is a great example. What finance department do you use?" Or
You
what,
can't get like a mentor like you can in the ball python world.
you can't. It just comes from experience in doing it. And or a partner. I didn't have a partner that had that experience type of thing. Yeah. Looking backwards and what I know now, I'd still be doing snakes, 100%. Don't get me wrong. I just I'd still be a Honda dealer. Now, not going that far back, looking at the snake side of it, I wish I would have even ramped up production more and worked harder at probably the rodent side, to be honest with you. And then,
If you're willing to do it, rodents is where a lot of money is at.
it is. And then that feeds your collection. So your collection gets even better. I traded snakes for rodents for years, and it always benefited.
I've done that. Yes.
When you're getting, an $8,000 credit with the rodent person from trading in, some pet puzzles or something like that. Oh, it goes a long way, and it helps. So I would have focused more on especially with a facility, with a warehouse. I would have focused more on rodents, expanded that, and then I still kept half the collection here and half the collection there. So I probably would have focused it all and moved in, and gone more with it. And then the next thing I would have done is I would have been. One of the other issues I have with is I hate possible heads. I just hate dealing with possible heads. So if I can make visuals, I'm all in. But if I have to, and I've gotten way better at it over the last 4 or 5 years of breeding a head to head and stuff like that, to make that next level of snake.
Mhm.
It's so hard for me to get behind. Yes.
Because you make so much non-sellable or not valuable stuff that is wholesale or inexpensive, water type stuff, So, but I think that's really hurt me over the years of not pushing more towards that. I should have more puzzle stuff than I have now. It's because I was just so busy making the visuals and not wanting to blow a female on something else. I was like, oh, this female's going to make visuals.
Right. Well, sometimes that like head-to-head gamble pays off, and then you get like 3 steps ahead visual animal.
Yeah.
And so it's worth shooting for the moon sometimes. It just depends.
I think it's more than sometimes, that the puzzle that I sent you the picture of, that's the head-to-head breeding. And I would never have made that if I hadn't that male that's going to be a great breeder for me this year to further down the road. That I should have made that 5 years ago.
It was a super OD puzzle. I
don't think it's super OD. I honestly, I meant to write down what that was, but it was like a pastel NoCo special het puzzle male back to a pastel inchy yellow belly banana het puzzle. So it's
the one not the one we were talking about before, the one on the thumbnail.
yes, yeah, that one.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I was confusing him. Yeah,
Can we jump over just for a minute in the comments? We have a bunch of people joining us. Also, thanks for joining us, Billy. Have a good day. He's hopping out, but we had a bunch of people join us if we wanted to throw some people up real quick.
Beast Morphs, Creme de la Clutch, Forward Motion. Is anybody else new?
There were some people further up that I hadn't
right.
seen before. Okay. Anyway,
Daniel.
hi guys. If you're in the
Hi,
chat
Daniel.
for the first time, we do less chat talking when we have an interview, unless you have specific questions.
Yeah, if you have a question, we don't have super chats, so we don't give a shit. Just put it in there. And if I see it and it's not too racist or whatever, I'll put it up. But if it is, no, we're nice people here.
I think the one question that I had is, do I know the cost to make a snake? You know, and that's actually a really good question. And because it's more of a side thing, I just know that the money in my bank account is greater than it is before, and I'm like, okay, it's working. You know,
it's working. I did it today.
so, I mean, you know, if you say it takes, you know, $2 to feed a female a week, and you know it's 52, you know it's 110, and then I actually have like a separate meter panel or a separate power panel for the snake room, and it has a monitor on it. It'll tell me what, you know, my cost is every month on the power and stuff like that. So
William's here too,
Oh,
and Kai.
But-
Yeah, that is like the sexiest thing I've ever heard. The separate power meter.
I know. I heard that, and I'm like, that is genius.
I wanted it for a long time. They're really expensive, right? Because then the taxes is much easier because you're like, this is my separate panel, bitch.
So it's not a separate meter
so you don't pay a separate bill for
no. I just and again, if you have an accountant, you know, you can write off a percentage of your utilities based upon the square footage of my
Right.
snake room, the house. There's a percentage you can write off and stuff like that, you know. So again, get accountant. I mean, they're so inexpensive for what they do for you.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, and then every little question you got, you know, and you know, I mean, and then keep track of everything, the smallest to the largest. You know, if I go to Tractor Supply to buy bedding, I write the mileage down. I have a chart. It all gets tracked. So
yeah. I think we all leave some money on the table, and I don't think Uncle Sam probably deserves too much of it. They're definitely going to knock down my door any minute now. Between the don't tell the feds, everybody. Okay, Dylan has a question. Dylan is, what are your favorite interactions you've seen with Puzzle, and where do you plan on taking the project?
I still think the super pastel puzzle is one of the best out there. I love the pattern and the color and stuff like that. I think I wasn't super excited about the clown, and I guess there's been some debate on whether that really was or wasn't. Do
you think it was or wasn't? I'm just a raw opinion. Hopefully it doesn't make anybody mad that you have this opinion, but like, do you think it was or wasn't? Because I'm not even sure.
I've looked back at the pictures. I have no idea, honestly. I was just gonna try and make my own, and then be like, okay, it is or it isn't, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, one of my weaknesses is looking forward at what stuff will make too. I'm not very good at, you know, I have to take a bunch of pictures. I'm on my phone. Click, save. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, I should do that. Oh, I should do that. I'm terrible at saying, oh, I think this is going to do this, or this is going to look really good together and stuff. And I just put stuff together, and hopefully it makes something cool. So,
did you see this beast?
That's pretty nice.
That's fucking sexy.
Yeah.
Woo! What is it?
An HRA ODYB vanilla puzzle.
Nice.
Balthazar.
I love that it has vanilla. Woo!
This is in the news, and I didn't know if we were going to get to news or doing news. I don't know the format of this show anymore, but we're talking about it. I was like, this is like a really fiery, nice puzzle.
Yeah, that's wow.
I'll buy
so do puzzles get nicer as they age, or are they like clowns and everything else that they don't get nicer?
My adults are pretty nice, I think.
Okay, that's good.
My lesser one's super nice. Yeah, I think they look good as they adults.
William Philippek says, "Where are the tri-stripe puzzles,
Yeah,
Marshall?"
no, I've not even done that.
I don't
He
think has
made
anyone.
hats. William made hats this year, right?
Oh,
William?
okay. I was gonna say I hadn't heard anybody doing that.
See, that's me again, not looking far enough down the road, and I think that's what it takes with ball pythons in general, is because it's 3 years,
Foresight, yeah.
that you just have to put the time in, and I be sure I didn't put enough time in on stuff like that. So I get jealous when I watch, rolling through Facebook and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh my god, I should have made that. Oh my god, I should have made that. Oh, what was I doing? I was lining my pockets full of cash with selling. That's what I was doing. And I think also doing as a side hustle, it's another thing too, is that cash is so nice. When you're making money and it's big chunks coming in, it's hard to say no to that.
It's
Right,
hard
and
to
then, like,
take,
if
like you
it's-
said. Go ahead, Jessica.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, if it's your side hustle, it doesn't matter that you're not like at the bleeding edge of the combo. It's okay if you follow the combo because someone else made a nice version of it, because then it doesn't matter that much to you. Because you're like, oh, they made a bunch of dog shit pewters or whatever, so I don't need to now.
Right,
I've learned, so I can do only the nice combos.
Yeah, the cinnamon kiki. Oof. Anyway, no, I totally get like what you were saying about the breeder females. If you have a breeder female visual, it's really easy to throw a visual male to her rather than use her to make hets, because then you're just like, well, that was boring, or that felt like a waste. Because profit wise, I know double hets are worth a lot, but they're not necessarily worth what you could get out of a whole bunch of visuals.
Which tri-stripe other recessive combos are you excited about, Marshall? And or puzzle other recessive gene combos are you excited about? If you say Desert Ghost, that's cheating because it's obvious, but you could say that if you want.
I don't know. I mean, I think I've been trying to work the special stuff in, to some of that stuff. I think that's gonna be kind of cool.
Have you hit a NoCo special tri-stripe?
No.
What about a NoCo special puzzle?
It's I think special's in the one in the thumbnail.
Oh, okay.
What makes it the color pop so much is that.
Yeah.
Get on that with the tri-stripe. Come on.
I should do more stuff with special. I think the other day I was looking at what I'm going to breed, and I got these adult, super specials. I'm like, oh, what should I do with that? And I'm like, oh, I think like sunset, like a super special sunset might be kind of cool.
That would be cool. Do it.
I should make that.
Oh, sorry. We have to ask Lord Jessica if that will. She has the. I always say this. I don't know if I say it publicly, but she totally has the Justin magic of where she can think of a gene and she can visualize what it will look like. And she's usually right, because she thought that the leopard and Kiki would be not exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And he just released a video. Now, we don't know if there's blade in that. And I'm still clinging to the very teeny tiny hope that Justin's might have blade in it. But she was right. So she just has that special sense like Justin has, where she can think of a gene and think of another gene and visualize what the outcome is. Whereas I can visualize the outcome I want, but it doesn't necessarily equal what it actually is going to look like, if that makes sense.
I don't know about all that. No. I just look at pictures of snakes on the internet.
I think she has a really great talent with that too. That's one of the things I like about the show too, is listening to her talk about stuff. And
absolutely, that's why I consider her a mentor, is because I'm just like, teach me, and she talks about all this little stuff that I never even think about. And so she just opens your mind to all these other possibilities that I think the everyday ball python breeder isn't exposed to normally.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable.
This is about Jessica. Marshall, Jana.
Sorry, Marshall. We're back to you. So do you want to put the super specials? So you said sunset. Are you going to put it into your tri-stripe?
Yeah. I already have it in there. I just haven't hit anything with it yet.
Okay. That's fair.
And then obviously I've got red stripe in there and leopard, and I've got a little confusion in this year to that, some darker stuff,
Mm-hmm.
to both actually. I know people have already made confusion hats and stuff like that. I think did someone make a confusion puzzle? I thought no. I can't remember. I don't think so.
I don't know. I've seen hats for sure.
Yeah. I've seen heads too and stuff, so, but yeah, I don't know, just working what I can in, there's only so much you can do.
So you're not working a double with either one yet? Like there's lots of DG tri-stripes and lots of DG puzzles.
I have a DG male, but I've got like clown, I've got sunset double heads, I've got on both of them clown, sunset, sunset. I was trying to think what else I got
in both of them.
Pied, hypo, what else? Yeah, in both of those, yeah.
Where do you fall on Ultramal v Monarch?
I like Ultramal. I bought a male I got, well, they weren't calling it an Ultramal then. They were calling it like
Burgundy albino.
No, I got him. He imported some stuff, and I got man, what was the one everybody hates now? Oh, caramel. New line of caramel.
Yeah.
So my mail came from Noah or whatever early on, and it proved to be the Ultramal stuff. So.
All right. William says that Justin did make William, send me a picture if you have it, if you know where it is on the internet, of a confusion puzzle. Why wouldn't I remember that? Maybe it's a secret. He also asked a question, if you don't mind. Do you think diversity in other species would have helped you when you were doing it for a living, like Tim Bailey? Sorry if I missed. It's okay. We didn't really talk about that. Like, do you think if you had did like more stuff at the facility, you would have been like balanced out in terms of what you were selling at shows or the market of each species?
Yeah, probably. The problem is like I bought like Motley Nicks early on from Jeremy Stone, and I just struggled with them. They didn't interest me. I tried rainbow boas. I tried the one thing you can't have here in Colorado until I just finally got like, I don't want to be in trouble.
Now the police are definitely coming, but this time it's Fort Marshall.
Yeah, Colorado's the bad spot for that too, because that all went down here in Colorado.
Right, I know they're all sensitive.
Yeah. I've tried a lot of stuff, and
nothing really like resonated with you.
No.
What if you like went back to basins? That was your heart in the beginning.
No.
Okay. They're expensive.
Nothing. The Gilas, I love the Gilas. I still got 10 Gila monsters. I've never bred them though. I just like keeping them. So, and then, yeah. I mean, I think if you're going to do a full time, I think that's a nice. Like I share a lot of deals with Tim, and Tim's table is full of redfoot tortoises to corn snakes to sand boas to bloods to boas. I mean, he's got more stuff than and because he enjoys keeping that other stuff and does a great job at it. I love seeing his table and all the cool stuff he makes. So
yeah, it's like a powerful ability to pivot on a show. Like if he thinks something's not going to do good, he just pull that whole thing off and put another set of deli of something else. But then it makes it complicated, right? You can't necessarily excel at something if you are doing 20 things at the same time. So it's like a balancing act.
Tim's a hard worker though. Tim's hard. I mean, he might be the hardest worker I know, period, of what he does. So, and he doesn't need to do the snakes, Interesting enough, it's funny is he was going to go full-time snakes and changed his mind. Because
you led him astray, or
did you talk him out of it?
I might have said a few times you should think hard about it and really think about what you're talking about here. And you've got a great solid job and you decided not to do it. I don't think
Marshall is not selling the dream.
I'm selling the hustle, the side hustle.
The side hustle.
Right.
Hey, that's what I'm all about. Is like boutique. Hey, Reggie.
Reggie's
also a
here,
contestant.
and Montana Mike's also joined
Mike.
us. Thank you. Hi. So,
just a second. I looked it up. Justin hit it a year ago.
All right. Maybe
there's a YouTube video.
All right, I'll have to look at it. So like obviously to me the confusion puzzle isn't going to be like insane. It's going to be like the pastel confusion puzzle or the super
Yes.
pastel black pastel
Oh,
confusion puzzle. Those are going to like.
Okay, well, I have a question.
I
Sorry,
have
go
black
ahead.
head
Michelle.
puzzle too. Black head and puzzle. I don't have a visual, but I have heads and stuff.
Does yours look more juicy than the one that Will posted? Can you send me a picture? I like to look at people's blackheads. Thank you.
It's not a visual.
Oh, okay, you have a blackhead head puzzle.
Yeah, I just have heads.
What do you think of Will's that he hit this
I
year?
don't know if I saw that, honestly.
Oh, fuck. I'll look it up.
So I have a question for you, Jessica.
Okay.
So we
this
know
is
that-
Marshall's interview.
I know it is, but hey, you guys brought it up, so I'm just gonna ask. Do you think that the black acid Kiki will suck just as hard as the black pastel Kiki, or the pastel black acid Kiki? You do. Okay. Moving on.
I think you'll have dots, but I also think you'll have the diffused color. But that could be cool. I mean, you've seen a black pewter or pewter acid, right? They're both diffused and dotted.
I have not seen. I've just seen the black acid or the pastel.
Yeah,
acid.
those are cool. But if you just want a stark base and like intense speckling only where the chevrons will be, I would not put black pastel or cinnamon. But if you want like a
And she thinks
diffused
that she
gray
doesn't know
base,
shit, right?
I'm just guessing here, right? The internet's full of people with shitty opinions. But
Because
I have one of them too.
spoiler alert, I just bought a acid clown.
Good job.
Yeah, pretty excited. about
Congratulations.
that. On Jessica's very good advice.
So I have a question about that then. Why not a confusion clown? Why the acid?
Just because that's the one I liked visually.
So I always wonder about stuff like that. So I have static stuff, and have made some pretty cool stuff with that. But I have confusion stuff now, so I won't mess with the static. That'll all probably go away. So when you think down the road of what will sell, I think confusion has the name recognition that makes it more desirable than say an acid or a static or something like that, even though they may do the same thing.
But I think the acids are cooler looking on average.
So the pastel acids for me look better. And so when I was searching for acid or confusion to add to my Kiki project, I was literally looking at the animals and the ones that were in my price range.
Yeah, I don't think they're different genes though. I just think
I know they're different lines probably is what will be proved, but
just whatever's polygenic seems to be a little more scattered and dirty than confusion is. Although confusion can get very dirty and fun.
But I probably should have done some like deep market research, but I think with the market where it's at right now, it's hard to predict after it re-stabilizes whether acid or confusion will be worth more, because sometimes one excels more than the other, even though they're like the same thing.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I just feel like confusion has that, like, because of the stuff Justin's done with confusion, that's that has
It's better branding
stuff. It's not the same as like VPI Xanthic versus Snakekeeper Xanthic.
Mm-hmm.
Although if I was buying Xanthic, I would buy VPI because I just think the market's bigger. But John kills it with that Snakekeeper stuff. I originally got Snakekeeper stuff because that's who I was buying stuff from was with Dana Collette, and I thought the Snakekeeper stuff looked better than the VPI stuff, but the market is much smaller, and I think if it's a business, I don't know. I mean, you're investing your money. Look which way might benefit me more.
Yeah, I don't know what people in the wild think. Like obviously there's like a Justin effect where just the promotion of his own project helps that project, but there are strong players that are not Justin who are specifically in acid on purpose or just because they were friends to begin with, who are making really cool high-end combos that I think are like supporting the acid side, the acid name. It's all names. This is all real dumb right now what we're talking about. That I think
I also while I was looking saw a lot of marketing that tag them both.
Right. Yeah, it's starting to be more of a thing to do both. All right, this is the blackhead puzzle Possible Cypress by Wilmerose Royal Canadian Reptiles.
What's your opinion on if there's cypress in that?
I just want to know if you like it as blackhead.
Is that a visual puzzle?
Yeah.
I think
that's
super
sad.
would be better. Yeah, that's not super exciting.
Right.
It doesn't
That's
look
really disappointing.
Right. It's like fought back
In a bad
too
way.
much. Like it's disrupted. It's taken all the puzzle. Not all the puzzle, but
Yeah,
it's like
it has. It looks like a cypress blackhead. It doesn't look like it has puzzle in there at all.
No. Like I sent Jessica 2 pictures of 2 OD puzzles I produced, past OD puzzles, and I was trying to decide, which one to keep, because the one's super puzzly. It has that really nice puzzle, crisp pattern to it. And the other one that's more melted, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm probably going to actually keep the other one.
You changed your mind again?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Like, it doesn't matter.
I did reach out to guy I got the mail from and had him look at the pictures. And although not confirmed, it might be a super, because it could possibly be a super OD. I'll probably hold on to that one.
So, if you don't like fuzzy puzzles, do you like the Mojave puzzles and the GHI Mojave puzzles?
I do. Yeah, I produced a hypo Mojave puzzle female last year. So
you're just having fun. Marshall's just having fun. He doesn't give a shit. Yeah. That should be a fucking wristband. What would Marshall do? Not give a shit.
I was actually all nervous. That was at Tenley 2020. And I had sunsets. I had the hypo Mojave puzzle female, and I had the male that I kept. And Justin did the little video on it for the nice stuff at the show. And I was like, "Don't say you want to buy it. Come on, don't, because I won't be able to say no. I just would prefer you not to want it. Right. And he goes home with me, and he's trying to make a decision for me. I don't have to make a decision. So."
Is that the exact moment it sold, or did he like?
That's the one I kept. That's the one, because I brought the 2. I was like, well, I'll sell one of them, and you put some number on them, and then someone goes, okay. And I'm like,
damn,
it was 2020.
Yeah, right. And so I mean, but then it makes for a great show.
Yeah. I
like the shows today are good for me. They're not like, I can remember going to Daytona, and I think I sold like 4 Pumas one time, plus all the other stuff. And I thought for sure when I rolled back through security for the airplane that they were going to be like, "Hey, we need to talk," and everything goes great.
They thought you were a mule, but you weren't.
Hi, Bree. She just joined us. She's also in the contest.
So do you think you do better? You have a morph market, obviously, now. Yeah. Do you think you do better now on morph market, or you still think you're doing more at shows because you prioritize shows?
It's I do shows because I like doing shows, because it's when I get to hang out with Tim and stuff like that and see people, and I enjoy the shows a lot. I enjoy the traveling there, and I like time on the road, and it's what I do with my job and now too. But I like doing shows. I like meeting people. I'm not a very outgoing person, but at shows, when you're talking about something I like and I enjoy, it's much easier to talk to people. But I think the shows have helped me on the one side, because I have people call me and say, "Do you have any het this or het that?" And they're like, "I won't buy a het from anybody else," And I've worked really hard to, I've been paying attention from day one. Is if I'm breeding something where I try to make sure what it is what it is. It's like I've had retained sperm. I've seen that in the collection and stuff like that. And I also am real careful about when I breed stuff. If I'm swapping a female over, I try to make it so that if she's retained sperm, I can see it versus what produces this year. So I mean, knocking on wood, I've never had somebody call me and say, "Hey, this is not what it was." And I can't tell you the number of sparks I sold probably as yellow bellies or normals, because I wouldn't roll the risk of selling someone a snake that's $5,000 and then call me in a year or 3 years, "Hey, this isn't what it was." I never wanted that phone call. So I was always really conservative on that.
Have you tried out the genetic testing yet?
No. And I was thinking to myself, that's kind of funny you say that, because I was saying to myself that that's not for me. I'll just
Not for you.
But
I got 2 I need to send out.
But I have like the sunsets I have. I think they're yellow belly sunsets. So I actually saved the shed for one of them. Just one of them just shed. The male just shed. So I'm probably going to send that out to confirm it. I would hate to sell somebody something again. I don't want to undervalue my snake. But I also don't want to sell something, again.
Right.
I just don't want that phone call that says, "Hey, this didn't prove out. What are you going to do for me?" I'm going to do what I can to make it right for sure. I just don't want to be in that position later on, because I've had it happen to me. I've gotten multiple animals, and I've gotten the response from, "Well, Marshall, you made a ton of money on this other snake you got for me. Do you really need to be compensated for that one?" Hey,
nice.
Yeah, what do you need? And here's a new one, or and then I've had to battle some stuff out too, and it's taken a year or more to get the result, and I settled to make something out of it, and I mean, it's the stuff like this that happened to me, and I just, man, I don't want that conversation. I don't want it.
Right. It creates accountability on both sides, which can actually just be protective. But then also, like, you could do the double head to double head pairings to get a bunch of junk and be able to sift through it.
So I've been more thoughtful about double heads. Like I think clown pied is something I want to get into, and I've got one of my original bananas I've been using a lot. He ended up proving out to be het for pied and het for hypo. Mm-hmm. So I've got a ton of het hypo, het pied stuff, pos het in the racks, and I probably start sorting through a lot of that, so that when I get a clown pied male or something, that I can work through that and maximize those girls that are in the racks already. So,
mm-hmm. Can we go back to like the NoCo special? Was that like an import that you bought specifically?
No.
Yeah, tell us that story for those of us who don't know you personally and haven't heard it.
So when I first got into it, I started buying ball pythons in 2004, and you couldn't like a normal baby hatchling female was, I think, a couple $100, so the prices were insane. So I was trying to, I'd already bought some nice males. I mean, when I say nice, it's like a Mojave or a Lesser or a Calico.
Right, like brand new. Brand new. Yeah.
I paid $20,000 for a pair of Mojaves. So I was trying to find some more females to breed these too, so I could reproduce the stuff, and this guy had a group of like 9 or 10 sub-adult from like 600 to 900 gram females. And I swear, I think I paid like $10,000 for these females.
Woo!
And one of them, they came in, one of them looked like a Mojave to me. It had a different pattern to it. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So the crystal had already been done. Tom Baker done the crystal. I'd seen that out in Anaheim when I was doing shows out there and stuff, and visiting out there and stuff. And so I bred a Lesser to it, and it produced, in essence, a white snake, but it had like a yellow cap on its head, and it had some like black spots in it. And I was like, well, that's not what it is. So I actually had those for sale at Arlington, like one of the very first Arlingtons I did. And no one would look at me because no one knew who I was. And no one was interested in them, which was kind of crazy. So I ended up keeping them in about the time that they bred a Lesser to a crystal or to a Baker line special. I had produced a super and a crystal out of it. So that's when I realized what it was. And then the super seems to hold color better and look better as it ages. So I wish the special was called a crystal. Then you'd have a crystal Mojave, a crystal Lesser, a super crystal. The name's terrible because when you put on a show, it's a Lesser special. Well, what's so special about Lesser? Or what's
also like a lot of weird negative connotations to
yes.
the word special, where you're like,
correct.
Oh, God.
Yeah, right.
So it was the Baker line special that produced the Monsoon with Dave Green, right? Or was it one of yours?
No, it's not mine. I don't know how the Monsoon was created. I don't know. I know it's associated with Mojave, but I didn't know it came out of.
Right. He was literally trying to make crystals. It was a Mojave to a special, and he was like, "Whoopsie!" So it was ostensibly in the. Didn't he buy them from the Bells? Jana, do you remember the story? Somebody write in. But he
I
bought
know
them from
that
the same
I've
person.
seen like Billy talk about it, how he had Mojaves and specials that he was trying to make crystals with, and that's when his monsoon popped out.
No, I was talking about Dave Green.
I know, but that's the only story that I know.
Okay.
Is
All
that
right. Yeah. Yeah. So like, but he bought his first crystal from Dave Green before Dave Green knew he had monsoon in it. All right.
Oh.
Genomic Lab says it was the Baker line. I was just curious if you'd ever like squinted at your specials and been like, is this head monsoon?
I've done enough special breeding that if it was in mine, I would have thought
You
it
would
was.
have found it. Are you interested in monsoon? What do you think about monsoon?
I have
It's
mine. I've dabbled in a lot of stuff. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'll try that. So I don't think I do a lot of one thing. I do a lot of things. So like I'm always like I'll make tri-stripes, ultramelts, pies, clowns, special or puzzles. I'll make ultra. I just said ultramel, didn't I? Lavender. I have lavender albino. I have a lot of recessive stuff like that, but I just dabble in it all and not focus on anything.
All right. Do you hate something in ball pythons? Not people.
Something.
he said he hated G-stripe.
I don't hate.
Oh.
I'm past it. I'm just like,
You're over it.
What about like, okay, you have to murder one recessive ball python morph and it doesn't get to exist anymore. It has to be a recessive though, because obviously there's lots of incomplete dominance.
You don't count the caramel.
No,
Yeah,
everyone
that was
needs
too
to not
easy.
be-
Yeah.
Or desert, plain desert. Though neither of those count.
I actually did really well on the original desert,
Oh,
which was interesting.
yeah.
You got in at the right time and got out at the right time.
Yep.
All right.
Man, what would I not like?
I'm gonna say hi to some people in the comments, and you think on it.
I'll think about it.
So hi, Constrictor Connection. Hi, Leviathan. They're also contestants. So thanks for stopping by and showing your support. Low Life Exotics. We already said hi to Bree. She's smoking mountain balls, also a contestant.
Peter's here.
Oh, and from the Soviet. Hello from across the pond. All right, go ahead.
What about albino? Regular old albino.
Oh, you say that was actually on my mind. I had 5 or 6 albinos, and I've gotten rid of all of them. I kept one. It was when they came up that test. I have one albino that's got like orange and yellow in it. it's really pretty, and I just can't bring myself to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, I might find something for that later on, and I know I'm never going to breed her again. I don't know. I hold on to stuff too long.
Oh, we actually have someone that's trying to find a breeder female regular albino. So
yeah, she was like, "Do you know anybody?" And I'm like, "I don't know anybody."
I don't know if I sell her. I mean, she's so pretty.
Oh.
Like
sentimental value.
Oh, and I don't know.
It's okay to like a specific feature about an animal because it's a nice version of that. Like, it's fine to me. That's
I have probably 5 or 6 animals that over the years that I just kept. One of my original cinnamon females I bought from Brian Marchek, I still have, because she used to go to all the schools with me. My kids were growing up. I was the guy that brought the snakes into school, and that's the one I always brought. She's a big fat girl, and she's super nice, and all the kids loved her. And
big old fat girl, that's right.
Just like throw some like high-end male to her every once in a while and just make hits. Or is that too much work?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. All right. So Marshall hates nothing. My God, what a egalitarian.
Man, I don't.
Except for G-stripe. All right. Let's pontificate here. I need you to tell us everything we're doing wrong, Marshall. What is the future, the near-term future, like 18 months to 24 months for the ball python market? Like, what year?
You've been around long enough. How should we weather this?
Yeah, and what year do you think it's going to be most like? Because we only know the years we experienced, and you experienced more years, and certain years were worse than other years, and some years were just sort of like, meh. Do you think it'll be?
I think it's really hard to decide. I mean, COVID is really just changed the landscape quite a bit, and then because of all the different genes out there and all the combos we're getting, it's so hard anymore to like, I feel like when I look on Morph Market, I'm looking for certain sites like, oh, there's not enough of those. I'm like, then there's 40-some thousand ball pythons on Morph Market. How is there not 25 of these and there's one?
Right.
And I'm like, wow, so there's a really interesting story I had. So, I've been making tri-stripes forever, and I went to Tinley in 2019 I had 3 sub-adult tri-stripes, 2 normals and a lesser. And I think I had them priced like $3,500 and $2,500. And some guy bought one of the normals from me for under $2,000, like $1,900, something like that. I was like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy. I sold the sister to that in 2020 for $6,250
in 2020. So like
the
next year,
2021.
Okay, so 2 years later,
summer 2021. Yeah, and she was probably 950, 1,000, 1,100 grams. I can't remember exactly, but I had 3 on my table and was lucky to sell one in 2019. Visual tri-stripe female, and then I sold one, that was on that table for $6,250 in 2020, early 2021. So, is that female worth now here coming up this coming season back down to $2,000? Is that I don't know. I mean, I think the other issue you have is that there's so many choices. You're into the Kiki project, Jana, and so that that's not for me. That's not something I would want to spend my money on. I want a cypress lace clown or something like that. Is what I would like to buy. So I don't even look at that. If the number of people shrinks down, the market can't help but contract and prices fall. That's the way it is.
So will you change the way your breeding plans for this next season based on how the market is now, or do you put blinders on and just do your thing?
Just go forward. Yeah.
Just go forward. Okay.
Because I still think, I probably should focus more into certain projects and focus more down. But I've learned, I can't imagine you haven't seen this at a show where you've got a table full of snakes, and one show that snake's never even looked at, and the next show 2 people want it. So
and they're like standing there fighting with each other to buy it.
Right. So how do you? I've just learned that when you go to a show, you can't pick what you're going to sell. You just bring it all.
Right.
And it sells this show and it sells that show. And maybe you're in a different spot, or the person that wanted that snake, when they came by your table, there was 4 people in front of it on that nice cushy mat because they didn't want to go anywhere else. And
nice
they
mat
right on by you. So or you were on your phone, head in the middle of it, sitting in your chair in the back, and because you were tired all day from standing, and that's the person you didn't say hello to. I've given up trying to figure out what will sell, won't sell.
The right combination of behavior.
That's why I like dabble in everything, so I have a little bit of everything, and then if someone hits a great combo, I'm like, oh, I got a couple females I can plug in and make that go quick or something.
How many tables do you like to vend with, like, or maybe displays, like 4 displays or just 2? Because you're
full time. I had at least 2 tables and had 8 cases,
Whoa,
and stuff like that.
So you had 4 on each table?
Yeah.
Wow.
And now usually it's 4 now, but lately it depends though, because like if you go do like an NRBC show or Daytona or something like that, that's like $800,000 in tables to do 2 or more,
Right.
Whereas I can do a Repticon or a local show me show and buy the whole end cap for $250.
Yeah, that's how hard it is up here.
Yeah, and then I can throw all my stuff out. I can have, some space, and people have room to stand and look. And so I've been more, it depends. If I do like I've done Tinley up until this year. That happened to be my daughter's move-in weekend at U of A. So I didn't do Tinley. Tinley was parents' night. First, that's what parents' night in college. And then move-in was Daytona. So I had done Daytona forever on that. But Daytona, I've been splitting a table with Tim. But I have driven out to Daytona and done that show with the and stuff. But those shows I just do one table because it's $450, $500. You know, by the time you're all said and done.
Are you doing Arlington in February again?
Or Tinley in March?
No, I mean I just don't feel like I have enough. So I'm probably a little spoiled. I mean, the market's so saturated, and there's so many people. Like you go to Tinley, unless you got something that somebody's got to have, you're probably gonna go home pretty empty, you know, or pretty full still, and not. I mean, empty pockets, full snake displays. I mean, it's you know, I've done okay at Tinley because I've always had some puzzle or tri-type stuff that's helped me, you know, stand out. But that stuff's all over the place now, so I'm not so unique anymore. So,
yeah, I love clown a lot, but there are definitely a lot of clown everything, and then not very many tri-stripe or puzzle. So being like well positioned in tri-stripe or puzzle, even if it's just basic stuff, is still technically better than clown. Sorry, clown, I said that. You know,
I just bought a pastel clown mail at a local shop, like $200.
I was just gonna say that's like basically the same as a pastel.
Yeah, I looked at it this morning. Female clowns are in the low 200s.
Yeah,
pastel or
That's
clown, and the male clowns are in the hundreds.
Whoa.
On Morph Market. So on a show, they're probably $75.
Yeah, I think you're gonna get, you know, you're still $1,200 or plus on a pastel puzzle mail. You know, it's I've not sold one for less than that. So
Shane says if it ain't G-stripe, it's no stripe. We're definitely gonna do a civil war. G-stripe versus tri-stripe. And
I have no problem with tri-stripe, but I found G-stripe first and really fell in love with it, and then I love what it does with clown. And tri-stripe doesn't do anything cool with clown, right?
I don't know. Has that even been done?
There's been a couple on Morph Market. It just lines up the dots, but what I think, and I agree with Will, because Will talked about this, is that like the Krypton tri-stripe will be different potentially, maybe not like Kiki, but Kiki like something that will, because it's fighting both directions, because the Krypton is horizontal and the tri-stripe is vertical.
Gotcha.
So it may do some weird stuff.
I will say this about genetic stripe is that there are some tri-stripes I see, I'm like, are you sure that's a tri-stripe?
Yeah, the really nice ones are amazing, but it's like,
you know,
some of them.
And I don't know if that's I can't talk enough like polygenetic stuff like that. I don't know. You know, all my stuff is I've never seen something come out that's all jacked up on the back half of it. You know, it's all been it may not have the running, you know, side stripes, but it has the main stripe running on the back. And so whereas genetic stripe has always been, you'll get a broken maybe on the stripe, you know. I used to see that quite a bit, but it was obviously what it was every time.
Have you seen the tri-stripes where they are like reversing back and forth? Where there'll be like a yellow back and then a black back and then a yellow back. Like it's confused whether or not it wants to be a tri-stripe. Like Ken Masick had some a long time ago.
I've not seen that. No, I don't remember.
Yeah. I think it's usually
did post the killer one today.
Right.
I was just seeing that.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Right. I mean that
like
is a
mostly
gorgeous
full body stripe. It doesn't like give up halfway for the second stripe.
It's a DG tri-stripe and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I mean, I appreciate it. I just fell in love with the G stripe first, and that's what I'm invested in.
Why would you do two stripe projects? That doesn't make any sense. You know,
I love it, and I think that it's been being worked correctly more recently with Enchi and Leopard and Yellow Belly. I've seen a lot of people pushing to get some more movement. What are you laughing about now?
No, it's Dylan. He did it. He's made a joke. Dylan says, I want D-stripe just for the name. Not going to lie. His name is D's Balls and Exotics. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I was looking at the D-stripe DGs in Europe, and they're cheap, right? Cheap. Awesome. But they're all like pasta caramel. I'm like, fuck you.
Ew.
Stupid shit.
Ew.
I'd be fun to that clutch and be like, oh.
Yeah, it's a little like
Just put it back in.
pretzel. Yeah. Anyway, what were you saying, Jana? I didn't mean to laugh at. I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing with you at Dylan.
Oh, I just said I feel like there's been a lot of strides forward in the G stripe, and they're doing a lot of cool things with Enchi and leopard and yellow belly, and getting some more movement instead of just different colored slugs. And so that's pretty exciting for people who love G stripe. But I think a lot of that's being worked with the intention of doing the G stripe clown, which is why I've switched over to that project, because I think that the staying power of keeping G stripe relevant is in the G stripe clown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So those of us who like it have to put up with the double. So it's fine. It's cool and it's fun. And like Jessica so smartly advised me, I'm going to be working Krypton and clown G stripe.
Yeah, it's an easy ad, for variety, without it being a whole nother gene. And then Dylan was talking about puzzle tries, which I think that'll be cool too. Hopefully it's better than the cryptic tries. I don't know, but I gotta wait till William does it. Hurry up, William! God,
get on.
You have babies. You should hurry up.
Yeah, hopefully you heard Bob Vu tell his secrets about bagging up those boys and tossing them in with 1,000-gram wallers. I'm excited to try that.
Do you think when Justin made the Batman, he knew that's what it was going to be?
No.
Okay, that's my thought. I guess that's when you the genetic stripe's 10 years older than the tri-stripe in the market.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit more. I don't remember when the first genetic stripes were produced, but
really early on.
Yeah, I think the problem is all of the G-stripe combos were looking the same over and over and over again. So they're like, dang, lesser, a little bit lighter, but the same. Dang, Mojave, different color of lighter, but the same. And so it became so boring, no one could handle it. And I still agree largely for G-stripe, even with leopard and yellow belly and Enchi, making G-stripe bolder and you can play with like the depth of stripe. That's all you're doing is like thicker or thinner or flamier or less flaming, which is fine. We're all playing with dumb snakes and boxes. The kiki is the thank God this happened for the gene. So I don't know how I would have predicted that at Marshall's time when he had it. You would have been like, this is so fucking boring and I can't sell them. So why would you want to keep it?
Right.
But is that I mean, is it just does it take that for the I mean you said you add Mojave to genetic stripe, you add lesser genetic stripe. I mean that's kind of what you do with tri-stripe. I mean you get
right, but you see that leopard tri-stripe?
I don't know if I saw that.
It's
my Facebook.
Things have changed. Let's get a picture.
Things have changed. Hold my beer.
Oh my God.
She's gonna bring it up.
Yeah, talk about whatever.
G-stripe was $19.99. Oh, that feels right.
That does.
Yeah. Will's gonna try the bag up the boy with his 800-gram. Yeah, because I mean, I know people who have thrown a male in for the 1,000-gram wall, not to breed the snake, but to get her eating again. And then they end up going and having a clutch at like 1,200 grams. And I know some people are cool with that, but I just don't like how they look after they lay when they were only 1,200 grams. And so the idea of bagging it up so that you're not impregnating that snake. And if they do get on food and do get up to a healthy weight for their body, then maybe they start to develop and you can breed that snake. That feels more comfortable to me. What are we looking at? Puzzle
tri-stripe.
That's a tri-stripe?
Yeah, we've talked about this before, Jana. Marshall is allowed to not know because he's not on the show.
I don't know.
Jessica.
What do you mean, This is a tri-stripe that has lost its mind. It isn't a tri-stripe anymore.
No.
It's now something else, but it's a new pattern variant. He has another one.
Ew.
What do you mean, ew? When you were on the show like 3 weeks ago, you liked it. So.
Well, that was 3 weeks ago, Jana, and that's her problem. Today, it's ew.
like it's leopard has fought so hard, it's sort of undone it.
Yeah.
But you could like redo it. Is what I'm saying.
But it just looks like a leopard. It doesn't look like a recessive leopard.
It could. It just means we can change the stripe instead of just reducing. A lot of tri-stripe changes are just color switches.
Right.
Right. We need.
Oh, you mean it's exciting that it's a pattern change in
yes, in the
tri-stripe.
recessive. So now
it does look like a puzzle. Thank you, Balls and Stripes.
right, it does look like a puzzle, but it's not. It's a tri-stripe. It's just a different kind of tri-stripe. I just think it's interesting that we have a pattern modifier that doesn't just reduce. A lot of them just reduce. They'll take the extra stripe away and then just pound stuff up on top of the back and then makes it tighter, like inchy.
Wait,
it reduces it too much.
Shane's telling me something's gonna hold me back, but I wasn't paying attention, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Make a note in the comments. Jana.
Shane, please be more specific because I do a lot of things that hold me back.
See, Pico likes it. Yeah, I like it because it's just something to work. We can now like work it like a clown. Like instead of always having a reduced clown, now we have a busy version of the same thing. 50 years of tri-stripe combos coming this way. Thank God.
Stay tuned, but not to me, to these guys.
What
Do you have puzzle yet?
What, are you asking me?
Jessica, do you?
I know he has puzzle.
Duh, we've been talking about it. He's like old school puzzle man and tri-stripe.
I still want it. I'm trying to be good, Jana. Give me a break.
You keep talking about it and
my
about
tri-stripe.
Get on it. Get on it.
Not eating and isn't going to breed. So I have to decide if I want to buy a male tri-stripe in the next 10 minutes.
Oh, it's kind of late.
I know he's gotten ASFs, live ASFs, and I even gave him a little appetite stimulant. And
did you box him up
in
a bag and a thing and take him for a drive?
I'm gonna box him up and punch him over the river.
What?
I've taken mini snakes to snake shows that never came out of a box.
Yeah, no, it works.
They're like, oh, hey, that was
all right. The next time we drive somewhere, I'll put him in the car. But he's
chuck him in it, like literally, like pack him up like you're shipping him. Shove him in the car.
Sometimes that doesn't work too.
But you've tried everything else, and then when you get him back, put him in a new spot in the rack in a smaller tub with fresh everything, and he'll think he's like arrived at a new place, and then he might eat.
We'll see. I'll try whatever. I've already done all the normal stuff. Like Peter Dinklage didn't eat for 8 months, and he was literally moved across the country into a new thing. He was not eating before that. Some of them right, but he didn't eat after that either.
Right. The move
I just think ball pythons choose not to eat sometimes.
Chucking them into a car. Like the move is like a huge. They're like, you've ruined my whole life. I'm not going to eat for you now.
No, he wasn't eating before, and he didn't eat after, and he just woke up one day and was like, "Fuck you, bitch! I'm eating." And I'm like, "Okay."
Will Teleheat Billy knowledge there, Jana. I don't know what these people are talking about.
Just like the moving thing, which I agree with, but like, I mean, I'll try it. I'm just saying I might not be running tri-stripe this year. I'll just do other stuff. That's okay. What project are you looking forward to this year, Marshall? Like what pairings? Like, is there something you're like, man, I'm actually going to keep some of this and not let anybody trick me into selling it?
That puzzle male I made, I want to use him a lot. I think I just love the colors in him, those oranges and yellows and stuff like that. I'm super pumped I got him. So I'm going to use him a lot, you know. I have a lot of Lesser and stuff, and I really rather have a lot of Mojavian stuff. So I've been working more of the Mojave side.
I have that problem so bad.
Yes. And then, like, I have all these clowns that have Lesser, and I'm like, please, you know, stop the madness. It's terrible. I want to do more with Sunset. I don't know where that project goes, honestly, but I do love them especially as babies. It's a pretty cool snake. Trying to tri-stripe more stuff. And I've been working my special stuff into things. I'm trying to make some more different supers and stuff like that. And then I think there's some cool stuff there. And then one thing I like, Bongo makes some pretty cool stuff too, you know. And so I've got some Bongo stuff I've been working on. I did and then just like Super Orange Dream. I like orange stuff. So like Calico and Orange Dream. I got some Bongo and Orange Dream stuff I think is pretty cool. I did I think it's like a Orange Dream, maybe Super Inchy Static that's like orange and black. It's pretty cool. I like that a lot. So,
You have thoughts on Mandarin?
no,
No thoughts?
no thoughts.
Okay. I like Mandarin.
But Mandarin's recessive, right? Is that, or is it?
No, it's just like the het form is not as exciting.
Gotcha.
Like the homozygous form is very orange. Like, what is that eyebrow, Jana?
I've never seen much of it.
I think it's super similar to OD, and I prefer like high intensity Aussie OD to Mandarin.
I mean, you saw that Mandarin monsoon. It was just one copy. Do you think OD could have done that?
I don't know.
What do you mean? You don't know?
I don't know. I haven't seen it, and I haven't seen a OD monsoon. So
you haven't seen OD monsoon. I was like, what are you talking about? Quit
hating on me, girl. I've got finals coming up. I can't be hanging out. I can't
ever tell what you remember or whatever.
That's fair.
You could be asleep half the time. So I don't know. It's like a big debate. Like, the Mandarin police are out, and then people thought they had Mandarins, but they didn't. They were just like someone was selling something else, and then everyone got excited about it and ran away. But I don't know.
I just think it's like another line of OD.
I don't.
Okay.
Can I show you something on the internet? Talk amongst yourselves.
Everybody's yelling at me in the comments about how I'm wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, it does look like Bang. I agree with that.
The Mandarin police are out, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's always police. Sorry.
I think people release projects too soon. Also,
I agree with you. You said that you were.
I mean, when I was doing it earlier, it was like, oh, I want to name something. I want to call something the Jimmy Bean Ball, whatever. Can we just call it a tri-stripe Mojave? Stop the madness. I don't like all the crazy names. I bet it took me 5 or 6 shows before I learned what a Kiki was. Like, you were talking about it all the time. And I'm like, what is Kiki? And finally you talked about how the name came out. I was like, oh, okay, I get what it is now. I just didn't take the time to look it up, but it took me forever to figure out what it was.
I try really hard to say G-stripe clown now because people don't, I guess, know Kiki as much, and nobody really likes that name. We just use it out of respect.
I like that name.
Except for her. Oh, you're over here on the screen. Yeah, no. So you said you were watching the Eyeballs reunion. Have you seen his work with the ranging?
So I looked that up briefly, but there's like a couple on Morph Market, and I'm terrible at seeing stuff. So unless it pops out and screams what it is, I'm like, oh, that looks like a normal to me. Or you think that's really something cool? And I think I like listening to that. Was a really cool interview because those guys were talking about how he's developing that before he brings it out.
He's absolutely done the work first. I've seen a bunch of pictures because I'm really interested in it. And it's like an enhancement gene. And so, yeah, it's like by itself, it's really hard to see. But when you see it in combinations and you compare it to a combination without the range gene, it just lights up and you can tell. But it's co-dominant, so it's not recessive. And so it's like a cleaning, enhancing gene, almost like Desert Ghost. But obviously it does its own things. It's really cool. But I think that what I wanted to say is I think that he's doing it correctly. He's putting it in clown. He's putting it into known combinations with clown so that you can actively see what it's doing rather than just being like, look at this coolish normal that might be a gene that I've named something weird, he's spent a long time developing it, and I think that more people should probably do that before they name it.
I got a female in probably 2009 or 10 that looks like it's going to prove out, she didn't eat for 4 or 5 years. She's really slow growing up, and so I've made some stuff now that like with lesser that looks different, but it doesn't, it just takes time to work it out. And I just don't, but that also takes a lot of rack space and time and it's, I don't know, but I think
it's definitely not for everybody to
No.
dinker with dinkers. Like for some people, that's not worth it.
Right, where people are dying for that next gene because they think it's the money comes with it, and unless you develop the gene and can show what it does with their stuff, you're probably way too soon to release it. You really have to work the project, I think. Yeah.
Are we still talking about Mandarin? I was distracted.
Well,
No.
you were supposed to be looking something up.
Yeah, that's cool.
I just think they look different. The super looks different. It's not the same thing.
That does look different. I will get
They
that.
remind me of an Orange Crush too. Like
Yeah.
if you imagine that this is like an Orange Crush. Not saying they are. Please don't fire me.
Cancel culture. Get out.
But Orange Crush is recessive, and this one you could hypothetically identify the het form. But that's what it reminds me of the most.
See, I haven't ever seen it in the super. I've just seen the single, and
the single looks like an OD, but
yeah.
the super looks different than a super OD.
You're correct. It does. I stand corrected as usual. Yes, I see the difference completely. But the single and the single next to each other are
virtually
similar.
the same.
Yes.
That looks like an amped up ghost, orange ghost.
Yeah,
it does look like a really sexy orange ghost.
Yeah, it's that's why I think it's Orange Crush like Orange Crush has like a partial ghost effect.
Will keep Orange Crush out of your mouth.
I'm gonna be, and he lives here. He's gonna kill me. Let's find out where I live. Yeah. It does look kind of Trojan, but I think Trojan has like a bronzier, copperier look to it.
See, this is why I'm looking forward to more genetic testing, because there are so many freaking genes, and it's like, oh, it looks like that. Oh, it looks like that. It's just like, how many genes now do we have that it's like this slash this slash this slash blip, 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 blip. It's exhausting for me.
I think it's going to be like 10 years before they get to that gene.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, or more.
Yeah.
But I just mean
or more,
it'll be nice to have it eventually come out, and like the little cutesy names are going to be like the line names, but everybody's going to have like a main name, so we won't have to learn the 15 different names for acid or confusion. You know what I mean?
But the only way we can do that is if we let people knife fight over who gets the name. So we'll like drop 3 knives down into a pit, have the 3 originators of their lines, and then we'll see who wins, and then that's how we name it. Because otherwise we'll just complain and bitch at each other.
We're not going to have a say in that. They're just going to have some
but we're dropping the
backdoor.
I'm dropping
backdoor
the knives.
meeting, and they're going to come up with the answer and just let the rest of us know.
Oh, brother.
Well, I remember it was always, get your snake up on World of Ball Pythons,
Right, to get it first.
World of Ball Pythons, I got 3 on World of Ball Pythons, like, okay.
That was your clout.
I was like, Sean tells the story of the, I think he mentioned on our show, he talked about the albino cinnamon, where he's debating with some guy who's going to produce the first albino. Says my eggs are hatching, or I'm going to beat you by a week. And freaking Graziani goes, oh, here's an adult. Because Graziano doesn't care about what people know he produces or whatever, here's what it looks like as an adult, it's just, some people don't care. And
it's funny because he told that story in like episode 3 of like old or whatever, like on the RSS feed, like one of the earliest ones. So he like retold the same story, and then I re-listened to it. It like came full circle. It was very surreal, like hearing the same albino cinnamon story like 8 years apart.
Yeah.
Sean's back though, baby.
I think rather than like a knife fight, we should just have like a mud pit fight.
How about a pudding pit fight?
A pudding pit, and we could have like sell tickets for US Arc, and they can just like duke it out, and then whoever like wimps out first, doesn't get to name the gene, and last man standing, like King of the Mud Hill or something. I think that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah. So Marshall, speaking of like dumb dinker genes, how many do you have? Hundreds?
No.
Thousands? Are you a dinkerer, or do you just like quickly wholesale that before it tricks you?
No, I only have the one that I bought. So, I mean, it's like I probably told the story in the Tri-Stripe, where I was on that list out of Germany, and I ended up buying like 3 or 4 things out of there. And I still have one that I've been working on, and I just haven't really put the effort into it. I've made some stuff, and I've got, pairings from it, and I see some things different, but I honestly just sold it as normal, some of them at the local show, because I'm like, oh my God, how many can I keep, and
right.
I'm like, well, I'll keep these, you look okay. And I'm like, So it's just like it takes. I think people realize how much work it takes to tease something out, and there's a couple things I got this pastel from a guy early on that makes really clean like yellow and black pastels, super clean stuff, But I think it's almost impossible to tease out. I've watched Tim come up with his Trojan, his what gene. He calls it a hurricane. He calls it something else now because someone else took that name or something like that. But Tim's always trying to pick out stuff out of his stuff, and he works the project out. So he's got the yellow gene, the what gene. I think there's something else in there too.
Does he have Window? Is he the starter of Window also?
No. He's got a thing in his hypo stuff. I have some of that stuff I just got from him before he knew what it was, but I haven't even really worked that. I can't remember what he calls that now. No, I can't remember. But Tim works that stuff on his website.
So that just part doesn't appeal to you as much.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a moral failing. I should probably pray the dinker away or something. You know what I mean? Because it's a kind of a waste of time and effort. But it's like a compulsion. I'm like, this is slightly different. I'm going to go waste 30 slots in a rack on it.
And that's 3 years,
right?
Well, you're like the old school.
But if you have that next cool gene, then it's that's a great. That's
right. Hopefully, or it could just be dumb.
Yeah, right. Jessica prescribes to the old school theory of you let none go. If you think you have something, you hoard every single one,
or feed them to king things. I don't know, but it doesn't make sense to if you think it's significant, release it.
Even under the guise of
significant.
Yeah. I have some odium stuff. I'm not very good at picking it out, and I've been selling that stuff off as really nice inchy or really nice this or just at the reptile shows. Here's a cool snake.
Yeah. Do you think it's in his collection? The gene you were looking for? No.
In what?
Oops. We're not all here. Like the gene you were looking for?
The one to tease away from the pastel? Is that what you're talking about, Jessica?
That Bailey and Bailey.
Oh. Well, that's scrolling fast.
Yeah, this is just his collection page, but it looks like all normal single genes.
Yeah. I know. You guys talked about the what gene. You thought that was the dumbest name ever.
I just think the name is pretty dumb. Let's be honest. It's hard to talk about it in a conversation.
Right.
Let's look at his clutch records or something.
I'd have to. I mean, they're labeled on my thing, but I know the what gene and the yellow gene are two that he has, and I can't think of what the other one was that kind of came out of his hypo.
There's a yellow gene. There's no picture, so. Original what and super pastel super what. They are cool looking though. It doesn't want to load. Oh.
Maybe he calls it the typhoon now because I think he wanted to call it the hurricane, and then somebody in Europe took that name. And
yeah, I have heard of typhoon with him.
I think that's what he calls it. I think so.
Okay, sorry, that was a little slow. How much dark stuff do you have? Do you like dark stuff? Are you like a bright stuff guy or a light stuff guy? Because I see a lot of sort of bright-ish stuff, but I don't know if that's like a byproduct of what's for sale and not your personal taste.
I like dark stuff. I like I'm happy to work the confusion stuff in now. I got some of that stuff, and then I've had GHI and leopard and some stuff that dark stuff like that. It's cool. I have the blackhead. I've had just started working with that a little bit more too, and so.
Mm-hmm. If you could impart one bit of wisdom to those of us listening that don't have your years of experience, what would it be?
I'm not so sure I'm a guy to ask that question because I would just say put the effort in. I mean, that's probably one thing I haven't done enough of. When I went back working full time and really started selling off racks and snakes and stuff like that, and then I just didn't work the projects like I should have. I think that was probably, so I just say put the effort in. I mean, if you've got the snakes and work hard at it. I mean, that's why Justin's where he's at. I mean, I like the comment Jessica made where you were talking the other day. I was listening to the euthanization podcast again or whatever.
Yep.
There was a conversation about Justin made a comment on a post Jessica made, and it didn't disappear. And you're like, oh, I think Justin knows who I am, or does he know my name? And it's funny because I was scrolling through my Facebook and it brings up those things after so many years, and like 10 years ago, there was a post I posted and Justin's like, cool snake, Marshall. I was like, oh.
You should have like screenshotted it and shared it to your Instagram.
And because you think Justin's been around forever. And, he has put the effort in and worked his projects and built his thing up. And that's the end result, and I think that's, just because you have snakes or just because you bought some snakes and you're going to put them together you'll probably you'll make, and ball pythons are hard to breed. Let's face it. That's pretty basic stuff. You put a snake with a snake and every month and you'll get babies in a year.
It's not rocket science.
No, but looking down the road and like I said, I've sold way too many visual females over the years, and just looking, it's not, this is long term. You've got to put the effort in. You've got to keep working the project. You've got to keep looking down the road, and you'll be successful. I think, and there's multiple levels. You don't have to be a Justin or, Babu or, there's, I honestly, when I was listening to the eyeballs thing, I didn't even realize those guys are even producing snakes anymore. They're doing their own thing, and I'm sure he's got, they were talking about, he's got super nice stuff, both of them.
Yeah, they do have really nice stuff.
And that's, and I even tried to find K2's, his website, and he doesn't have a morph market, I don't think. He doesn't even have a morph market, and so you're telling me this guy's, so he's working his projects, and he's got, a tight collection that he works really hard. The same like Ozzy does, these guys, you can be successful and
you might be happier too if you were lean, high end, and like small instead of trying to go full time, because it might just accidentally full time on accident anyway, because it's just sort of casually being a side hustle. Breaking news. Justin stole Dive On In from Shane, and now they're gonna,
duke it out.
Some more.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet, so I gotta go catch up on Justin videos just so I can catch that. They will do like a side by side.
Who said it better, right?
Lip syncing up. Wait for Jana. I got your back, man.
All right, thank you, Marshall. If anybody, do you have anything for sale right now? I think you have some puzzles. Am I right?
I have like 2 snakes on there. I actually took them. So I have a phone full of pictures of snakes I'm going to sell. They just never magically get off my phone into Morph Market. So
do you have any adult male tri-stripes?
Not for sale.
Not even for you, Jessica.
Dang it.
So what you're saying is, if you want something and you've seen it on his Instagram, maybe message him.
Right, he doesn't feel like putting it on Morph Market. It's private only.
No,
mostly puzzle stuff, though.
I should do better at that stuff like that. I think I'm down to. I think the other mail I'm not going to keep. The pastel puzzle OD is already sold. Whichever one I don't want. I think I got 2 pastel tri-stripe hatchlings. I got the sunsets. I got some stuff that'll go up, and then some lower end stuff, but nothing.
Okay, let's just pretend like it's awesome. The best snakes ever available in Marshall's DMs. Slide on in.
Right.
Slide on in.
And I prefer you tell me what you're looking for, because I can just say yes or no.
All right. Yeah.
What do you have? Well, if I had a list, it'd be up. I'm terrible at that stuff.
Are you 10 feet in snow? Are you still shipping next week? Or how's the snow situation?
I wouldn't have any problem shipping.
Okay.
That one, Redline's only going to let you. They may not even let you ship.
They didn't let you ship this week because of Black Friday, but next week I was of the understanding that we could ship one more week. Hopefully, because I have a snake that I need to get out and a snake I need to receive.
He was saying the 5th through the 10th. He had something on the front of that Snakes the Fat Man thing with the eyeballs thing. He came in and spoke for a few minutes about shipping times and stuff.
Yeah, they usually turn it back on if the
fast-forwarded
volume
through
is
that.
fine. That first week. But otherwise, Marshall will hold your snake for you that you're gonna buy everybody until January 10th or whenever they turn whatever back on. D's Balls is looking for combo het females puzzle, probably. You got any combo het female puzzles?
I do have some like
we're making deals live on the air.
But I don't. That's so. I just keep feeding them until I'm like, maybe I don't want that one, and I put it up. I don't. I'm very indecisive about what I want to keep and don't.
Shoot him a message,
I'm
throw
like,
him some money. He'll
Right.
be less decisive or more decisive then.
Right. He likes money.
All
right. I think we did it. Jan, do you have any other questions?
No, I just wanted to say, check him out on Instagram. It's NoCo Reptiles, not the
NoCo.
Steeler.
It's definitely NoCo.
Oh, what did I say?
NoCo. That's
NoCo Reptiles, not
reptile,
the exotic.
not exotics. Yeah.
Not exotic.
Right. It's
They
confusing. They did steal it.
And then I also wanted to say that if you guys could join me tonight on Sean Bradley's
Oh my God, we're all gonna be there.
After Dark.
Yeah.
It should be a very interesting of who's going to talk over
Can
who.
you ask him for me how he got his girlfriend?
No, because that opens up a whole can of worms.
I'm just curious. Like, did he? She's like 12 or whatever. I was like, no, she's not 12. That's weird. She's 25. Yeah. Like, what did he do? Was he like, I'm gonna give you a fish tour? Let's trade. And
Sean, I've known Sean for many years, and his ladies are always younger.
He likes him spry. That's what you're saying. Okay. I mean, that's fine. People got to have different strokes.
Different strokes folks. For different folks. That's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to judge. Whatever. You do you.
I just want to know how they met. I want the story.
Oh, I can ask that.
That's what I mean.
But you made it like all dirty, so.
Well, it's you, Jana. I have to set you up so you can,
Well, you can
like swing.
A bunch of people asked because they were pissed off that I didn't have my boobs out on Gumbo. They asked.
I don't think they were mad. They were just
I've
asking.
gotten some emails that there were some people that they had to listen to my podcast with no boobs. And so they asked if the assistants were going to be present during my interview tonight. And so then I asked if it was okay, because some people are okay with it, and some people are like hugely offended. And he was like, I think you're thinking of the wrong podcast, Jana. So I don't know if that meant he was offended or if he was just like throwing shade at Chris or what. I don't know.
I don't know, but
he made it sound like the assistants were not welcome. So if the audience,
he loves strippers. I thought he was like really into strippers. Like, so this is not even close to like a stripper.
Go watch it. I asked and he was like,
I know, I was there. I don't know. What do you think, Marshall? Boobs or no boobs at the
boobs.
Live tonight?
Boobs.
Okay. You know him better than we do.
Hung out with Sean a lot, and yeah, good.
How many champagne rooms has Sean bought you? You can actually not choose to answer this question if you want to.
No, no. Actually, that's not been a. No.
Okay, I'm getting you in trouble. I feel like your wife is listening in or something, and
all the respect.
I'm sorry.
To your
yeah.
wife.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, we've got.
Right.
No,
yeah, I have been in a champagne room. Let me be honest, but
I don't even know what that is.
Jana, we can't take you anywhere. Let's finish the show.
I'm sorry. I lived a very sheltered life.
We'll take you to this. Sean Bradley will take you to the champagne room one day. He'll buy you bottle service. It'll be fine. Right?
Powerhouse says he has to take the fit.
Lollipops in Daytona.
Oh, God. What does it smell like? That's my number one question. I'm okay. The best strip clubs are the ones with like shark tanks or something, so you can like look in it and try to like figure out if your soul's still in your body while you're there.
I've been to strip clubs. Is that where champagne rooms are?
Oh yeah. So you have to buy a champagne bottle for like $300, $250, whatever, and you get the room for like a block of time with the girl.
Oh, I get that just because I hit on the girls and they're like, "You're fun, let's go back."
Well, there's like you could have
There's
like
no
a private
champagne involved,
dance.
though. Although
Well,
I
you-
was only like 18, so maybe that's why.
Well, there's like a private dance. Why are we explaining the like logistics and mechanics of strip clubs? All right, goodbye, everybody. Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I had a great
All
time.
right. Yeah.